Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though.
Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Canat. All the lights are currently lit here on track. And it is go, go, go! Donoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count down Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
And here we are. Welcome everyone and a very good evening to PSGL PCF4, where tonight it's round 3. We're in Austria. I'll be your host for tonight. My name is Mitsky and I'm joined here as always by Max.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be back here for the third round of the season. Should be a good one, as Myth you previously mentioned. We are around Austria tonight, so expect a lot of slipstreaming and DRS chicken, but yeah, it's good to be here, Myth, again, and excited for the action that should come this evening.
Yes, very excited for that indeed. And of course, this DRS chicken we're going to see a lot in the race, not in qualifying, as we'll have a restart in between qualifying and the race. As for qualifying, we will turn off collisions so that the slipstream effect will be negated, and then for the real race we'll have to restart that. We will stay in the same lobby, but that gives us a short break and about 5 minutes in between qualifying and the race in order for us to prepare ourselves for the race here tonight in Spielberg. Now, last week was quite eventful, was very good in Miami, and a few things changed actually on the podium, didn't it, Max?
Yes, a few things did change, as I said last week with JSD's time penalty. I did say that could get removed, and he did appeal the time penalty, and he won. He got the appeal, so he finished second, dropping Justin Aerts down to fourth place, but the top and Exavox down to third, but your winner stays the same. Lewis Walker still won that one. Unfortunately, not here this evening. Same in big news here, isn't it, Miss Sky? Alongside Alexander Diaz for Spain either.
No, I believe he is out on some sort of trip for the next few weeks. As you can see on the driver standings, he's currently our championship leader, shared championship leader with Jeremy Gallinet, who did pick up that pole position, but scored outside of the points after some contact during the race last time round. So that gives him an opportunity tonight to try and not only take the lead by himself in the driver standings, but also extend that gap quite a bit with numbers 1 and 3 from the championship missing. I do believe that Exafox and JST will be here tonight. Sven Schumacher was available as a reserve driver, so we might see him here as well. Justin Aerts, I believe, was also not available. So we're missing quite a few drivers. If I quickly go into the game, I can see we have 15 drivers. Justin Aerts is actually here. And we have Jeremy Gallinet, Florian van Zelter, Justin Aerts, Isaac Lead, Lucas Beisner, Daniel Gottschalk, JST, Liam Bowman, Ivan Santamaria, DV19, Marcel Pabst, Sami Simeone, Exafox, and Jay Kennedy, and let's see, there's one more below. Yeah, and that is Carlos. The drivers that we'll have tonight, I think, as we're waiting for them to ready up. So 15 drivers out there on the grid tonight. Not as stacked as you could normally expect, but then again, in this season, this time of the year, with quite a few holidays coming around, it's not unimaginable that some drivers will be missing out on 1 or 2 Grand Prix.
Yeah, not really unexpected with the drivers missing some races, as you said, the time of the year. And also it's just a new game cycle. People are still learning, and people may take a race or 2 out to just adapt to the game and just say, oh yeah, I'm not quick enough, I'm not at my best just yet, I don't want to ruin other people's races, so that then we quickly just take a week and I'll be back stronger than ever. But yeah, we should be on for quite an interesting race. 15 drivers around a circuit where slipstream does play a very, very massive part. So that is going to be something key for the race. Of course, new for this evening in PSGL anyway that we've seen so far in F4 is that, of course, as you said, collisions will be off for qualifying, so there will be no slipstream advantage. Drivers can go out when they please and follow who they please, because there'll be no gain from any type of slipstream. And around a circuit like Austria, slipstream is crucial, so that makes it an even playing field. And around a circuit like this, where not really much time to make up around some of these corners, we could see a very, very close qualifying session with, say, the top 2 maybe separated by only a few hundredths of a second.
Yeah, the gaps are very, very slim. Now, I saw earlier on that we were seeing in the higher tiers a 103.1 as the pole lap time. So this is something that we should be looking out for here in tier 4 as well. Perhaps a little bit slower. So I think about the 103.2s, 103.3s is something that we can expect for pole position tonight. And yeah, in the other tiers, the whole top 20 separated by about 2 to 3 tenths, so I think it'll be slightly more here, perhaps 3 to 4 tenths, but the gaps are going to be quite close. And I see that we're getting the call from Florian to ready up, so we will be on our way in a moment. Just to quickly notify of something though, after this week we will take a short break, so next week there won't be any racing. There will be a break week before in 2 weeks we go back to Spain. So when we go to Spain, I've just come back from Spain because I would be available next week, so that break week comes in absolutely perfectly. But yeah, for tonight, of course, in Austria, and it looks like we're about to get into the game and see qualifying go underway with our 15 drivers.
Yeah, and I forgot about that break week. So we will have Dimas back in Spain because he's only gone for the next 2 weeks, so this week and the week after. So the championship leader at the minute will be back for Spain, but that could be crucial. Of course, the man level on points with him, Jeremy Gallinaya, after a horrid Miami, will be all fired up, ready for some redemption around Spielberg, the Red Bull Ring, and will certainly be looking to try and win again, of course, after his successes in the first round of the season, and extend that championship lead by 16 points over Alexander Demas. So that's going to be his main goal here this evening, just to try and get that championship lead right back into his grasp. But we are loading in to the qualifying session now. Of course, 18 minutes the drivers have to set the fastest lap time they possibly can. And one thing about Austria that we have not commented on so far, Myth, is that the chances of rain are really, really high, especially with us being in the hills and in the forest of Spielberg.
Yeah, definitely chances for rain will be quite high. Another thing important to know is because the track is so short, instead of 3 timed laps, I think most drivers will try to go for 4 timed laps, giving them an extra shot going for pole position. Also because it's very easy to pick up track limits here around this 10-corner track, and indeed it looks to be a little bit cloudy out there for the time being. Let's quickly I'm not sure if there's any rain predicted. There we go, now we have our in-game view. Hopefully we will see something about that. Of course, we don't need to see what tires the drivers will be using. That should be all the same tires, at least for a time being. It looks like a couple of drivers are about to exit the pit lane. Actually, quite a few already starting to exit the pits. And I think the first one is either going to be Daniel Gottschalk or Lucas Beisner. No, it's neither of them. It's JST who's the first to leave the pit. So let's go on board with him for a moment and let him take us around this 4.3 kilometer track.
Yeah, of course, Jay, after the highs of that second place last time out in Miami, after that appeal, will be looking to try and go one step further this weekend, and this evening, sorry, not this weekend. I'm talking like it's the actual F1 Grand Prix. We can only dream, but yeah, Jay certainly going to be looking to try and go one step further this evening, take that race win, his first of the season, and try and make it 3 different winners from the first 3 rounds of the season. But the lap already nearly finished, heading through turn 7, now through 8 for JSD. Try to get those tyres as warmed up as possible. By the rates that the drivers have left the pit lane, they could certainly be trying to go for that 4-run strategy, knowing we have that lobby restart. But here we are then, with JSD. DRS open for him as he now heads down that main street, climbing up the hill up into turn 1, braking at the 100-meter board, down to 5th gear, clip that first apex curve nicely, run all the way out till you sausage curve on the outside on exit. Then DRS open as you head through this kink of turn 2. Not really a corner, but it's counted on the circuit. Into turn 3, late on the brakes, try and get the car rotated nicely into that apex, and then super careful on the power. Need to make sure you don't drop the rear out of turn 3. DRS open once again as he declines down the hill now into turn number 4, and hitting that inside curve nicely, but running very wide on corner exit. And that's going to be JSD's lap pretty much over. Probably going to get this in just for a bit of a delta in that first part of the lap. But unfortunately for Jay, going wide at turn 4. Has just killed his lap times. So who is next to be setting a lap? And that is going to be another orange car, and that is going to be Daniel Gottschalk coming through turn 8, now up into turn 9. Of course, then turn 9 and 10, two very fast corners. In 6th gear, a big slide for Gottschalk. Is he going to be able to keep it? Just about. A brilliant save there from Daniel. How has he kept that one in the straight line? JSD with a 1.4.2. Instantly beaten by Jeremy Gallinari, of course, who set a clean lap time in this one for 1 minute 3.390. First benchmark is on the board, and it seems to be a strong one.
Yeah, it's quite a strong one indeed. There are only 2/10 off of what Tomas Kokenia was able to do in the other tiers, so the higher tiers. So this is already a very good benchmark, as we see Sami Simeone do a 103.4, also a very solid lap time. Now I quickly want to go over to, well, Justin has invalidated. DV19 still out on the track, but looks like he is not really going for a push lap. Exafox has also invalidated. Ivan Santamaria is out there in the second sector, but he's also not on a push lap. Liam Bowman, however, is the first sector, a 17.0. Let's see if he can keep it up here in the second sector. He's already running quite low on fuel, but that is kind of what you want to do. At a 49.2, I'm not sure if he's going to be all that fast coming around, and seeing where the time is at, I think he will indeed be a couple of seconds off, and he will also be abandoning on that lap time. Carlos Torres still out, he has invalidated, but Florian van Zelter has actually gone a very good, ooh, shoots off, but that was a very fast first sector. It was a 15.9. I don't think we see quick first sectors like that very often. 15.9, that's one to look out for.
Yeah, that certainly is. That rivals Jeremy Gallinari's first sector there for Florian van Zelter. So very weird way he's gone off there at turn number 6. Very odd how he's just shot straight on there. Not often you see drivers do that. He crosses the line with a 1 minute 3.906 to go in to 7th place. But it was a very, very rapid first sector there for Florian van Zelter, so really, really unfortunate for him. Could have rivaled the likes of Sami Simeone and Jeremy Gallinari for pole position. DV19 goes up into 6th place, 1 minute 3.733, only just behind Isaac Leet there, up in 5th place, but DV having to settle for 6th at the moment. I don't think anyone else is on a lap time. Most drivers now are going to be coming into the pits. I think the only driver that is pushing on is Marcel Paps, down in 7th place with a 1 minute 3.874. Let's see if he is up in that middle sector. Only just. So for Marcel Paps, he'll need a mega final sector to really put himself up into that top 5.
Yeah, let's see if he can keep it together around these final 2 turns. Those are Rindt and then finally the Red Bull Mobile corner. But the last corner, very shaky, huge slide on the exit, but he still does improve, even though this last sector definitely was not what he was looking for. So there is a lot of room for improvement for Marcel Paps, as we see more and more drivers already on their outlap getting ready to go for their second run. But so far the car to beat is that of Jeremy Gallinari, who is actually already further down the field, so we'll be looking to spectate him as he goes for his second lap round here in Spielberg. But he's doing quite good so far. A lot of elevation changes here as well on this track. Massive amount of 65 meters between the highest and lowest point of this track. So drivers, as you can see, will be going lots of up and down, especially here in the first sector, in the first corner even. The Niki Lauda curve, you can see how much elevation change is already happening. As you brake, go up, take a little bit of curve. That was a pretty good first corner from Jeremy Gallinari as well, as he heads down towards turn 2 and then the hard braking zone of turn 3. And with that first sector of 15.8, he's over half a tenth quicker than he was on his previous lap. So a lap to look out for.
Yeah, it certainly is here for Jeremy Gallinari. With it being so short, still has very tricky corners. Of course, track limits are going to be key for this evening. Running wide or just running too close to that white line on corner entry can pick up a warning. 3 of those, 3-second time penalty. That could be detrimental to your race. Jeremy Gallinari now through the middle sector. He's actually found a bit more time on that lap, just under a tenth up on his lap, so he'll be just off a 1 minute 3.2, but still got this final sector to go, really pushing the limits. Through turn 9, Liam Bowman goes equal top. They've both set the same lap time, but Jeremy Gallinaya goes quickest with a 1 minute 3.264. But for a moment there, we had a dead heat between the top two for pole position. But unfortunately for Liam Bowman, Jeremy Gallinaya, a few seconds later, has to go and ruin that 1-2 that we had. Exactly the same. And for Jeremy Gallinaya, he's certainly putting himself in a good position to make it 3 poles from 3 so far this season, being very, very clinical when he needs to in qualifying.
Yeah, that's good that you mentioned that. He's the only driver with the poles to his name so far, and he's once again proving why he is the man to beat here tonight. But that was a stonking lap time that he's put in, a 103.2. That is very, very quick. And will be quite tough for all the other drivers to try and beat that. We saw a couple of drivers actually go for an extra warm-up lap. We saw even Santa Maria do that, but he aborted then as he went on his fast lap. I think the tires do deteriorate too fast, so that it's not really possible to do that. We'll see Isaac Lee be down about a 10th on his own lap time, DV19, and I'll let even Santa Maria now putting in a lap time with a 103.6. But what I found interesting earlier on is that when we had the same lap time, we did still see a graph on the top of our screens that it was the fastest lap time, even though he was in second place. So I'm not entirely sure how that works, as Carlos Torres almost losing the pit lane, going a little bit wide there. But with quite a few drivers out there on track, I think DV19 is up for a run, and he indeed is, and he's up by half a tenth in the first sector.
Yeah, nicely done there from DV19 in that first sector. And yeah, Liam Bowman did still have the purple lap time next to his name as well. So still a few bugs here and there for this game. But of course, Jeremy Gallinaya has put that right, and he's up into provisional pole. But there goes Florian Van Selter by 1 millisecond, taking second place. What can DV19 do? Can he try and rival the top 3 at this stage of qualifying? So now heading through turn 8, up the hill to turn 9. Of course, you've got to be super committed through here. You've got to be pushing the limits of that car aerodynamically as you then enter turn 10. Back on the power instantly as soon as you hit that apex. DRS open for DV19. Where's it going to put him? It's good enough for P6. A 10th.5 improvement for him as he sets a 1 minute 3.583 and puts him just behind Lucas Besnaya and only just in front of Justin Ertz. But for Justin, he's going out for another run here. So it does seem that some drivers really are trying to push that 4-run strategy, as Jeremy Gallinaya as well on his outlap. And Florian coming into the pit lane in second place. No, I think he's still pushing on here as Florian. So could we maybe even see an improvement from him?
Yeah, in the meantime, Jay Kennedy jumps over to second as Florian does enter the pit lane. But when I was looking at the lap for DV19, it seemed like he was taking too much entry speed into turn 7 and 9, which cost him a little bit of time. And it looks like the key to his lap is to try and improve a little bit more in the third sector, because sector 1 and 2 were quite solid already, as we're now watching and seeing what JSD is going to do on his third flyer, I believe it is already. But he is yet to pulse a competitive lap time, and it looks like he is doing an extra warm-up lap as well. However, if that will work out, I'm not entirely sure. We saw that Frivan Santa Maria didn't work out. He's now backing off a little bit because there's a faster man behind him. I think that is Axafox who's about to close off his lap. It's actually not Axafox. It might be... What should have been Jay Kennedy then? But anyways, here goes JSC. He is now going to go for his lap. Remember, this is the man who ended up second in the previous race, so he's definitely up there in the championship fight after 2 races. And a good race result, well, most notably, if he manages to get the race win tonight, it's very likely that he will be our new championship leader. So definitely a driver to watch out for, as he swabbles a lot there in turn 3, almost losing control of the car. Really losing his car there now. And that should be the end of that lap. So qualifying not going according to plan for JSD for the time being. But the man really to beat here tonight is Jeremy Gallinaya, as he's once again a 10th quicker. Here he comes across the line.
Oh, wow.
And that's a 103.1. This is quicker than PC Tier 2, I believe. This is a very good lap time by Jeremy Gallinaya.
Jeremy Gallinaya, take a bow with that lap time. And he's still got time to do a 4th run. This track evolution just keeps making this guy quicker and quicker. And when it comes to this qualifying, He's done it in Britain. He did it in Miami. Can he make it 3 for 3? Can he complete the triple and go up into a 3 pole positions in a row? 1 millisecond separates Carlos Torres, who's just slotted in behind Jay Kennedy. No one at the minute able to get close enough to Jeremy Gallinari to even rival for pole, just under 0.2 of a second, and I mean just under 0.2 of a second, separating Jay Kennedy and Jeremy Gallinari for P1 and P2. So provisional pole really is in Jeremy Gallinari's hands. Exafox, of course, isn't on a lap time. DB19 just starting. He's Ivan Santamaria is up by, I think that was 62 milliseconds in that middle sector. Let's see if he can find more time in that final part of the lap. Ivan Santamaria has really been struggling this season. He's not really had the pace in that car. Gottschalk goes up into second place, but still nowhere near Jeremy Gallinari's pace. So at the minute, Jeremy Gallinari absolutely flying, and no one's got an answer to him.
Nobody really does have an answer to him. And just to correct myself earlier on, he's quicker than the tier 3 pole position by Tomas Kilkenny, not tier 2, but still very impressive to out-qualify people a tier higher than you. And he's well on his course, as you already mentioned, Max, for his 3rd pole in succession, the only man so far on pole position this season. And those extra points for pole position really helping him in that championship fight, putting him shared first on 18 points together with Alexander Dimas. But yeah, pretty much the entire field 2/10 away. That is going to be extremely hard to improve on. But what I was looking at, the weather seems to be deteriorating a little bit. I was already looking... You probably see me sometimes moving in and out of the car. The reason why I'm doing that is because it seemed like towards the back of the circuit, so in between turn 3 and 4, it seemed like it was starting to drizzle a little bit. But I cannot detect any raindrops for the time being. Although we will have to see if the drivers are still going to come out or if the drivers are going to stay in. Nobody has mentioned anything so far. But it could be that we see a little bit of rain later on in the race as well, if the weather conditions do not change that much from now. Currently 2 drivers still on track. Looks like Marcel Paps has invalidated. And DV19, well, I'm not entirely sure if he's on a lap. He seems to be harvesting now a little bit. So he might just be preparing... I think he might actually go into pit lane because he seems to be very, very low on fuel. And the same can be said for Marcel Pabst. So I think they'll go into the pit lane and then we'll wait for any of the other drivers to exit pit lane and go for the final run here tonight. 2:45 left on the clock.
Yeah, not long left now in this qualifying session. At the moment, Jeremy Gallinari seems untouchable. So let's see if he can make it 3 from 3 and carry on that being the only pole man this season, and also take the championship lead with it. Of course, tied with Alexander Dimas for now, but if he wins this one, wins this pole position, he gains an extra point, so he gets that championship lead right back in his grasp. And I'm looking in the pit lane right now, and on top of the buildings, I see marshals flying. I don't know if that's just me or if that's on your screen too, Myth.
Well, let's take a look. Let's see what we can find. Yeah, I saw someone in the back go in and through a building. Yeah, there is a marshal flying right there in the back. And in the middle as well. Okay, interesting. Looks like it's very windy out there on track.
Certainly is, and I think maybe here, unless he's coming out extremely late, Jeremy Gallinari is going to sit this one in the pit lane. No, he's coming out now. As soon as I say he's going to sit this one in the pit lane, he's coming out extremely late, trying to get the best track conditions possible. But the first driver to be setting a lap in these final runs of qualifying will be JST from last at the moment in 15th. Can he improve and set himself into that top 10?
Well, let's go on board with JST as he heads up the hill into the Niki Lauda curve. We're trying to brake late, getting a little bit of inner curve, but it seems to be a pretty clean get through on the first corner now, going through turn 2 into the hard braking zone of turn 3, looking for a 15.8, and he does get a 15.8 in the first sector. That is very good. Braking very late, seemingly pretty good exit as well, down through Remus, and now he's going to be braking downhill, one of the more difficult corners of this track because you're braking downhill. Very easy to overshoot here in Schlossgold. As for now, he seems to be doing quite well on his final run, but he needs to improve by almost a second. if he wants to be competitive, if he wants to get close to that front row. But so far, it's looking good, and he's up by 9/10. This is a great run by JSC. If he can string it together through the final 2 corners, he could be on for first or second place. It's looking very good. Here we go. Turn 9. A lot of speed. Again, very good. Final corner. Don't pick up track limits. He doesn't. This is enough for a pole position. Is just not. But it's enough for P2. A great final run by JST. And that puts him on the front row for now.
It certainly does, and Jeremy Gallonay has made a mistake. He's invalidated his final run of qualifying. So now it's anybody's game for pole position. Jeremy will not go quicker. So for Jay Kennedy through the middle sector, he's up by a 10th of a second. If he can find more time in that final sector, that is certainly what he needs. Justin Ayers goes 10th place overall for 3-minute 4.81. Florian Van Selter decides to elect to come into the pit lane. But here we go then. Jay Kennedy, the man in 4th. A really scruffy final sector though. Where's this going to put him? And it's good enough for 2nd. And only just off Jeremy Gallinaya. Daniel Gottschalk. That's Carlos Torres going to 6th. Liam Bowman up into 3rd place with a 3.2. Who else is coming to the line? Lucas Besnaya seems to be on a lap, but he's down by 9 milliseconds in that middle sector. So let's see what he can do as he now exits turn 9 down the hill into turn 10. A big slide on corner entry. That's going to ruin the end of his lap. Does he improve? No, he loses time in that final sector. DV19 doesn't improve. He stays 12th. Marcel Papp stays 15th. And that is going to be it for your qualifying session. And it is 3 out of 3 for Jeremy Gallinaya. He's the king of qualifying, and he makes it 3 poles in 3 races.
Yeah, that is quite an impressive feat. Shows that he is entering the season as the strongest in qualifying session. A 10th and a half up on his nearest competitors, although his competitors did improve quite a bit in that final run. Jeremy, unfortunately, validating, could not go any quicker than what he had. But a 1:03.133, definitely a very good lap time, and puts him on pole position for the 3rd time this season. Another good run for Jay Kennedy as he's in 2nd. And as we're now watching the animations come to an end, I can take you through the full results. Just to let you know, once more we'll be staying in the lobby. There will now be a 5-minute break because we'll be preparing for a restart of the lobby. But pole position, Jeremy Gallinaya, then it's Jay Kennedy, followed by Liam Bowman, JSC, Daniel Gottschalk, Carlos Torres in P6, row 4 by Sabi Simeone and Exa Fox, and row 5, Florian van Zelter and Lucas Beisner. Outside the top 10, we found Justin Arx, DV19, Ivan Santamaria, Isaac Leet, and Marcel Pabst. That is your top 15 for tonight here in qualifying, and we will take a short break, and then we will have some extra time to talk as we prepare for the race. And we are back, so we just had a very good qualifying session. We'll now take a little bit of time as we are going to prepare for the race. We're just waiting for that to reset for us to go back into the lobby, but it gives us a little bit of time to look back at the qualifying session we just had. And with 3 poles straight for the man on top, also puts Jeremy Gallinaya in the top of the championship, because he was shared with Alexander Dimas for 18 points, but pole positions this season for the first season here at PSGL gives you an extra point, which means he is now on 19, and he is now leading the championship by 1 point heading into race number 3. And we see in the chat Jay Kennedy congratulating Jeremy Gallinaya on that pole, but that was quite some pole lap time, wasn't it, Max?
Oh, it really was. And I mean, they say pressure makes diamonds. And Jeremy Gallinay this season, when the pressure is on the most in those qualifying sessions, he has been absolutely superb. He is really learning how to maximize the most out of his car over one lap. Shame how it all went in Miami with the unfortunate damage that he picked up. So for Jeremy, it could have possibly been for 2 for 2. So he's really maximizing as much as he possibly can out of that car, and now taking that championship lead, that will give him even more of an incentive to go on and win this race. And of course, it's going to be fully dry, so he won't have to worry about Miami, where it had that little sprinkle of rain. Don't know whether to go on inters or dries, and risk the whole race and the whole strategy out the window. So for Gallanet, he's just been absolutely on it this season, and he certainly can make it 2 wins from 3 races alongside those three pole positions in a row.
He definitely can indeed, but let's look at the track ahead of us tonight as we have our beautiful track map and a little bit of facts for the Red Bull Ring here in Spielberg, Austria. 3.3 kilometers, 2.7 miles, 10 turns in total with 3 DRS zones on the start-finish straight after turn 1, after turn 3, 65 meters change in elevation, and 2 seasons. It was featured twice on the calendar as both the Austrian and the Sion Grand Prix as in the real life. Max Verstappen with 4 wins to his name, of course missing out on that dramatic 5th couple of weeks ago. But we are all focused here on PSGL. We have the man Jeremy Gallanet on pole position after a beautiful lap time set in the qualifying session. And as we're now going to prepare to ready up, change the settings, we'll be heading into the race in a couple of minutes. As Max already said, the weather will be dry. We had that when we just started the lobby, so we are going to have the same thing around this time. We're still using the F1 World cars, so the drives are equal, and the race here tonight will be 36 laps, so half race distance.
Yeah, 36 laps of these drivers taking on the Styrian Hills, and it should be really, really good to watch, because just this circuit provides, especially in league racing, such good racing because of how closely they can follow through that middle sector. And now with that added slipstream effect, we could maybe see, I keep saying this, I know I do with the slipstream, but around a circuit like this and how long that straight up is into turn 3, 4 cars wide on the opening few laps of the Grand Prix, and it's going to be absolutely insane. It's all about keeping your nose clean on that race start, especially when it bottles up into turn 3 and everyone just gets really congested. So just making sure braking a little bit earlier and hopefully getting through there unscathed. But Austria, there is a moderate chance of a safety car, especially with how close some of the walls are around here. But I wouldn't really say a safety car is on the cards, to be honest, here this evening. Just because these drivers, they keep it within the limits. They know how to race very aggressively, but very fair so far this season. And for Jeremy Gallanet, if he pulls away from the rest of the field and they're battling behind, he'll be praying no safety car comes out, or that could be something that could be very, very detrimental. So we're gonna see amazing racing here this evening. So stay tuned, and it's going to be one race where I think this could be possibly a contender for race of the season.
It's definitely going to be a very close season, and the main focus will be on breaking that DRS. So of course DRS will already be activated after the first lap, and with 3 DRS zones, and I believe also 3 detection zones for there's 3 detection zones, yes. The last one just after turn 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, the DRS really does come into play because the track is so short. You have so much DRS zone. Slipstream is so powerful, and of course, the DRS is very, very difficult to break away from that DRS. So drivers will likely be driving within a second of one another. Top 10, perhaps even more. I mean, there will be 15 drivers tonight, so that's something to look out for. And that also means that it's going to be tight all the way until the end of the race here tonight. So it's going to be very tough to break away from that. Perhaps a little bit of tactics could help out with that. But essentially, we'll see a last lap shootout between quite a few drivers in lap 36. Likely will be a one-stopper though. I think most of the drivers will be starting on either the mediums or the hards. I think most drivers are actually going to go for the hards at the start and then drive it out on the mediums around Austria. But yeah, we will have to wait for Florian just to rejoin us because he was restarting the game. And as soon as he joins in, we'll be queuing into the race as well. So in about 2 to 3 minutes, we should be getting this race underway.
Yeah, we certainly should. And another thing that needs to be mentioned is I feel like this race really is the deciding race for whether you're going to be in that championship challenge or not. This is really the race where you've got to prove that you have the pace to be up the top. So for the drivers further down the field in the standings, the likes of who is here tonight quickly, if I quickly have a look. So really the likes, DV19, Liam Bowman, they've really got to prove that tonight's the night. Lucas Besnaya as well, that tonight's the night where you put yourself in contention for that championship. Yes, it's super close at the moment, but you need to be up there now. You can't afford to have these first 4-5 races where you're not scoring enough points to even be considered a championship challenge, and then later on in the season from rounds 10 to 12 you pick up the pace then and you end up finishing say 6th or 5th in the standings. You need to be up there now. So the same with the likes of Dimas Galanet and Walker, they're already up there. They are exactly where they need to be at this point in the season to carry on that momentum, but you don't want to leave it too late. So I feel like this evening is really where you've got to switch it all around and make sure you're up in that top 10 at the very least of the points coming out of Austria this evening.
Yeah, I think the positive thing so far is that the championship lead after 2 races has 19 points, with a maximum of 18 that you can get if you get the race win, pole position, and fastest lap. That is not too much yet, so the points are already quite spread, at least for the first 2 races. If it does stay the same, then you of course have a little bit of extra time to try and kick up, but ideally, if you want to mix yourself in for the championship, you will want to have at least 10 points after the first 3 races to show that you might be a contender after all. We're just waiting for a few settings to be changed. A few drivers have already readied up, but we're just checking to see whether the damage settings have been set to the correct values before we're going to head into the game. And something that I just noticed when watching at the camera screen, Max, you're wearing, I should say, a Braun GP t-shirt. Now, I think quite a few people on the chat won't have any idea what Braun GP is because they weren't around for very long. But can you tell us a little bit about Braun GP?
Well, they were brought for £1 from I think it was Honda. Yeah, it was Honda back in 2008 by Ross Brawn, driven by Jenson Button. That's why I wear it, because he's my favourite driver of all time. And Rubens Barrichello. They were without a drive until that purchase from Ross Brawn. They made the double diffuser, probably one of the most initiative and most technologically advanced upgrades and pieces of downforce on the car that we saw at that time back in 2009. Yes, I was 3 years old, but still. But yeah, it was a season where they didn't have much to really develop the car. So that first part of the season where Button won, I think it was 5 out of 7 races, was so crucial for his championship challenge. And then it all started to fall away from them. Barrichello was still up there, but for Button, he didn't really have much of a good second half of the season. There was that DNF in Belgium, 14th places. I think one was at Germany. And he really started to decline. And I mean, the documentary on Disney Plus is really informative about it. No plug intended, but it was one of the greatest success stories, I think, in F1 and just sporting history, where a team brought from a pound with very minimal budget goes on to win not only the Drivers' Champion Button into the constructors as well. So they didn't have many sponsors. The most notable one was Virgin, because I forgot the guy's name. I forgot the Virgin
Richard
guy's
Branson,
name, but
right?
he wanted. That's it, Richard Brandt. I knew it was Richard something. Yeah, he wanted to. He saw the potential in the team, and he was the real reason that kept them afloat throughout that season. But yeah, Braun, biggest underdog story I think in sporting history. It was a minnow winning the championship that season, and then of course you had Red Bull, Mercedes. This was when Red Bull were just starting to get good, challenging for the title, and yeah, Jenson Button, arguably the greatest mixed weather conditions driver, ended up on top in Brazil, and yeah, happy days.
Yeah, so a quite nice trip down memory lane, but of course the team that was previously known as Braun we find on the grid here tonight, because later on it was rebranded to what we know as the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team that we see, well, we won't really see on the grid tonight because we have to use the F1 World Cars, but normally we would of course see that team on the grid. And of course Ross Brawn as being a team principal, Ferrari then of course taking over the Brawn team, now has a senior position within the F1 world as well. So definitely people still around, and definitely some people that shape the future. And indeed, as you mentioned, the documentary definitely worth watching if you weren't around at that time, just to get you a little bit of a view of how it was back then in the season of 09. But in the meantime, we are heading into the game. We got the confirmation that the weather after restart is dynamic, and as a result it seems to be a bit more sunny. But looking further up ahead,
Yeah, so do I. Some very, very dark clouds in the distance there. So could that mean some rain is on the cards? That is going to be the question. But going to get underway very, very shortly. And yeah, I may quickly add about that Braun story is that Mercedes only joined Braun as to be an engine supplier. Then, of course, Braun nearly went bankrupt. So then they took over thinking, oh yeah, we got that success, we'll build off that. And the dynasty was made. So, but yeah, it's going to be very, very touch and go if there's rain or not in this race. I feel like at the very least, it will certainly become overcast about halfway through. But maybe near the end, we could certainly see some rain. But those clouds do look very, very threatening. But there is some blue sky behind them.
There is some blue sky behind indeed, and by seeing how the clouds are moving so rapidly, we might have some rain through the earlier stages of the race, so definitely we're going to keep an eye out for that. But now, with the lights coming on, as we have 3, 4, and 5 red lights on, we will be on our way with a quick start and very well off the line for Jeremy Galladay, but immediately down the inside, here comes Jay Kennedy as he takes over the race lead from Jeremy. Jeremy does go wide there in the first corner. Might have picked up a little bit of track limits there, but immediately wants to retake that race lead. But look at that. Down the inside comes Liam Bowman. Can he go for a double? They're 3 men wide into turn 3, and it's race lead for Liam Bowman. Jay Kennedy still holding on. Jeremy Galladay dropping down the order a little bit. Daniel Gottschalk now up in P3 with Carlos Torres joining him. And there was a little bit of contact. I think there's some damage to one of the cars. Not entirely sure which car that is. But the race leads for Liam Bowman, and Jeremy Galladay seems to be on the wrong foot of that as he is spun out.
Oh, disaster. An absolutely horrid start for Jeremy Galladay here in Spielberg. Getting tagged, it all congested up on the exit of turn 3 behind Carlos Torres, I think it was, or maybe even Jay Kennedy. And because everything congested, Jeremy Galladay hit in the back, sent round. I think something's happened to Florian Van Seltzer. He's dropped down a few places. Don't know if that was just a bit of an internet issue there, but horrid start for Jeremy Galladay. And after the disappointment in Miami, it happens again in Austria, as here comes Jay Kennedy to the outside of Liam Bowman, showing how powerful that DRS really is, and he takes the lead of the Grand Prix of lap 2 of 36. Expect to see that a lot more so far this evening, as Exafox able to get past Justin Ayers. They're going to go side by side down this back straight between turns 3 and 4. Justin Ayers with no battery already. To the inside he goes. Can he get this moved on? And Exafox, Carlos Torres further up under pressure from JSD, but now Exafox with the inside for turn 5. Can he pull this one off and keep it around down the inside? It'll be the inside again for turn 7. But no, Exafox having to slot back in behind Justin Ayers there. Could Justin just be in a bit of better predicament here on his setup and taking those a lot of tyre life out early, though, could certainly hinder his race. A big slide through turn 9, able to keep the car in a straight line, though. But Carlos Torres, not even 2 tours in, and he's picked up a 3-second time penalty already. That could pay dividends at the end of the race.
That could pay dividends at the end of the race, indeed, as we see Florian van Zelter teleporting around a little bit, mentioning that he's had some issues with the hotspot that he's using for tonight. As we can see, most of our drivers on the medium set of compounds. The only driver who's not is Sami Simeone, and of course Jeremy Gallagher wasn't at the start, but he has now switched. He'll be hoping for a safety car further down the line. And so far, Jay Kennedy is holding off Liam Bowman in P2. JSD had moved up. He is overtaking Carlos Torres on a run down to turn 3. And DV19 is also starting to make his way up as he's just crossed back over on Florian van Zelter, and he is now in P8. So good works for him, as Ivan Santamaria is now trying to contest Florian for that P9. But the overtake that we saw in the previous lap, Justin Haas going around the outside of turn 6. A very impressive move to make on XFOX earlier on. It's something that we saw Ocon do a couple of weeks back when they were doing the race down here. And look at that, Ivan Santamaria just flying down the inside of Florian and taking over P9. Also the fastest lap for now with a 106.039.
I'm not sure that was a legit move, though, there from Ivan Santamaria because of this internet issues. No, it was not. There he goes. There goes Florian back up to the... lagging all over the place. Jay Kennedy overtaken by Liam Bowman. But this is actually really dangerous at the minute for Florian van Zelter with this internet issue. And it could certainly cause some havoc through the rest of the field. Jay Kennedy gets the move back done on Liam Bowman, heading down to turn 3. So Liam Bowman didn't need that race for long there. Heading into turn, after getting the move done into turn 3, then up into turn 4, gets the move re-overtaken by Jay Kennedy. But Florian, I don't know if his internet's fixed itself once again. I don't think it has. But he certainly went off at turn 3, and he's dropped behind Marcel Paps now.
Yeah, it's dropped down the order a little bit, as we saw Isaac Lead having a little bit of a moment through turn 8 as he's being chased by Sami Simeone behind, but he managed to slot in behind Ivan Santamaria within a second, so he will have DRS once more down the main straight. He's used pretty much all of his ERS, just 10% remaining, so he can now start harvesting a little bit. But with the DRS that he does have, at least means that he won't be able, he won't be under pressure from the drivers behind him, as we see Liam Bowman is getting awfully close to Jay Kennedy once more. Perhaps now down the second DRS straight, he will be going for a move once more. Let's see, can Liam go for the overtake here? Is using a little bit of that ERS, and indeed down the inside he goes in turn 4, and he retakes that race lead. So the man in first and also the man in second going for some overtakes back and forth to trade the race lead for the time being, as we are in lap 5, soon ending off lap 5. So it's a beautiful gold-looking car that Liam Bowman is driving. He's still quite closely chased by Jay Kennedy. With Daniel Gottschalk in P3, there's no room for error for either of these two.
Now, after a horrid opening race of the season for Liam Bowman in Silverstone, he's certainly in a good position at the moment here in Spielberg after not being at Miami last week. But for Liam Bowman, he's doing exactly what he needs. Of course, transferring to PC from console. I do know him very, very well. I know he is a very quick driver when he has the opportunity to show his pace at the front. Is Jay Kennedy going to go for a move this time? No, but he does tag the back of Liam Bowman. That does cause Liam to have a bit of a slide there, but nothing too major. You can just see how much it congests up at the top of turn 3. No moves being made so far into turn 4. No, there is not. Everyone's just staying in this DRS train. Expect to see this till the end of this stint. Once the end of this stint arrives, that's when the drivers will want to make some moves, get further up for their track position, and get a better pit stop opportunity. One thing they need to look out for as well is whose teammates are who. Of course, after the lobby restart, it does reset on who is in what pit box. So Ian Bowman at the minute is in the best position possible because he does have no one in front of him, and of course means that he can box whenever he likes. Florian van Zelter's into the pit there, and I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't a retirement And there it is, a retirement for Florian Van Selter. Unfortunate for him with those internet issues. And here comes Jay Kennedy to the outside of Liam Bowman. Could Daniel Gottschalk get the pair of them? He's using his batteries, going to the inside, but can only get past Liam Bowman this time around. And to the inside further back, there was Justin Ayertz to Carlos Torres. And Carlos even falling behind Exafox as well. Isaac Leet versus DV19 too as they head down into turn 4, not being able to get the move done. It's Jay Kennedy who leads from Daniel Gottschalk. Liam Bowman now under pressure from JSD after going wide at turn 4. Here comes Jay round the outside of Liam. Can he pull this one off? Could it be 3 positions lost in 3 corners? No, it's not. JSD just having to sit behind Liam Bowman, but putting the gold car under abundance of pressure here on lap 7 of 36.
Yeah, and just as we thought that the action was going to die down a little bit as Liam Bowman picks up track limits there out of turn 9, the pressure kicked right back up with some changes in 1st and 2nd, down to 5th, and also in 8th place with Ivan Santa Maria moving up a little bit. DV19 being pushed back to P10 as Liam Bowman once again goes wide, and I think he's now going to be overtaken by JST, has been overtaken already by JST, and here comes Justin Atz as well. Down the inside he goes, but can he get one? Should be able to get Liam Bowman there, but they're still side by side. Both drivers will be having the DRS enabled now, but Justin is still on the inside. Now moving back, trying behind in the slipstream as Jeremy Gallané also picks up the 3-second time penalty for track limits. He's actually made up a significant amount of time on the rest of the field, so definitely has the best pace here tonight, but being so far down the order, that of course does not help his efforts in order to get back into a racing contention. And I think without a safety car, this could look very gloomy for Jeremy Gallané. On the other hand, it looks good for Jay Kennedy. He's leading the pack for now, but Daniel Gottschalk and JSD very close to him, and Liam Bowman still in P4.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Jay Kennedy at the moment, and very, very dire for Jeremy Gallané. That did rhyme. I did not mean for that to rhyme. But yeah, unless there's a safety car, Jeremy with another absolutely horrid evening. Same happened in Miami. He picked up the pole position, led for a little bit with the intermediate strategy, and then unfortunately picked up some damage, fell through the order this evening. It was instant on lap 1, caught up in an incident. That wasn't his fault at all, and unfortunately had to come in for some front wing damage. Will Daniel Gottschalk go for a move on Jay Kennedy? No, he's just going to sit behind. We're going to have these laps where it's going to be a little bit of action, then 1 or 2 laps with no action. Then, once the drivers know they're under a bit of pressure from the car behind, they'll then attack the car in front, because the best form of defence is to attack the car ahead. So we're going to see these laps where everything dies down, then it picks back up and dies down. It's going to be a very, very roller coaster of a race. And Sammy Simeone has got past DV19 there. Sammy Simeone was actually second at one point during qualifying, but only ended up qualifying in P7. So it wasn't the greatest of qualifyings there for Sammy Simeone, but still, lots of positions able to make up. Everyone who's not made a pit stop still within DRS range of one another. And here comes Daniel Gottschalk. Is he going to go for a move? No, he's not. He's just going to sit behind Jay Kennedy this time around. But it really does bottleneck up as there's Carlos Torres making a move on Exafox, and this time might even lose out to Ivan Santa Maria. There goes Ivan round the outside, better traction, and Carlos Torres went for a desperate lunge to the inside of Exafox, losing out, and now under pressure from Isaac Lee, who might get the switchback move on the exit at turn 4, but no, well defended there from Torres. But really, really went for a desperate lunge there, and it did not work out at all. And now Liam Bowman, under a lot of pressure from Justin Ayertz, he's really starting to struggle on lap 10 of 36 and at this stage in the stint. And Gallané picks up another 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, it's starting to look worse and worse for Jeremy Gallané, but what I just want to look back on what just happened down in turn 4. So Carlos Torres was already overtaken by 2 drivers, went for a very late-breaking move. We almost saw a repeat of the real-world race, Miami turn 1 with Max and Sergio, where Sergio nearly took out his teammate. It was very close. Or Carlos Torres would have taken out Ivan Santa Maria. That did not happen, but what did happen now is that Daniel Gottschalk and JSD have gotten the overtakes done on Jay Kennedy. So Jay Kennedy now in P3 will likely still try and have a chance to get back at them, but I think JSD is going to send it down the inside of Daniel Gottschalk and indeed will be taking over the race lead. Sammy Simeone is also starting to pick up the pace. He has now gone past Isaac Lead as Jeremy Galanese got penalty for speeding in a pit lane and he's DNF'd. He has decided to call it quits for tonight. So our championship leader is out, which means that pretty much whatever happens for the rest of the evening, we're going to see a new championship leader heading into our break week.
Yeah, we certainly are, and the person with the upper hand at the moment, well, there's 3 drivers in this train at the front that could have the upper hand and take the championship lead this evening, and that is Justin Aerts. You then also have JSD, who is the highest of the drivers that can take the championship lead this evening, and the other one is Jay Kennedy. He's had a very quiet season so far as Jay Kennedy, nothing too major, but still has been very, very consistent. He's got Slack going to go for a move on SD, no, but taps the back of him, a big slide as well under braking for him. This could allow Jay Kennedy to maybe attack the TF10 driver of Gottschalk in front. So here we go then, DRS open, heading down into turn 3 on lap 12 of 36. But no, not able to get the move done, and just having to sit behind. Once again, one of those laps where everyone just sits behind one another and it all just somewhat bottles up, and then the next lap will have action once again. But Liam Bowman really is struggling, now under abundance of pressure from Exafox, and we can maybe even see Liam Bowman drop down to 6th, but Exafox with some big slides through turn 7, really struggling with rear traction there, and that's allowed Ivan Santamaria to get under pressure here from Sammy Simeone, who's gone round the outside, can't get it done, and that could allow Carlos Torres through, but no, he's just having to sit behind. He's well behind the rest of this field, really dropping down the order as Carlos Torres. Seems more of a qualifying setup than a race setup that he's got on that car, and really starting to struggle, and Ivan Santamaria goes wide. Could this open a window for Sammy Simeone to move up into 7th place?
Well, it does look like it, as he's going to send it down the inside. But remember, Sammy, the only driver out there on the hards, and those hards already saw a few laps ago that was starting to make his way up the order because he was behind EV19 just a few laps ago. He's now all the way up in P7. Those hards really coming into play nicely now as he's starting to get faster and faster. But the real issue that he's going to face is something that will be happening later, because he is on an offset strategy as the only driver out there on track. Meaning that when the other drivers are going to come in for the mediums, he can't stay out for too long, because otherwise when he rejoins the track, he won't have DRS. And with the other drivers having 3 DRS pretty much all the way through, he's not going to catch up with the field ahead of him despite having the medium set of compounds. So he can't really get too much of an advantage here, and will need to make that advantage earlier on in the race, and then being under extra pressure later on in the final few laps, as his mediums are going to start to die out and the other drivers' hards are going to come alive. But let's quickly look at the position changes we've seen so far, because we've seen quite a few drivers make up a lot of places. As for Sammy, he's just gone back to where he started, but for all the other drivers there were position changes. JSD is up by 3 as we have a short yellow in sector 2. That seems to be for, I think it's DV19 was indeed. He's lost a couple of seconds.
Gottschalk
and JSD are starting to fight, but yeah, they're up by 3 places. Justin Ayers is the biggest gainer with 7 up. Also 5 up for Ivan Santamaria, 4 up for Isaac Lead, and 3 down. Biggest losses so far for Liam Bowman, who was at one point leading this Grand Prix, and also Carlos Torres losing out 3, but still in 9th position.
Yeah, that was really risky there, as here comes Sammy Simeone round the outside of Liam Bowman. Can he pull this one off? It does seem so. Exafox tried darting into the pit lane, overshot it and had to abort. He's had to abort going into the pit lane there, Exafox, and that is detrimental to his race. He has dropped off the back of the rest of the medium runners. Absolutely disaster there for Exafox. Went in too hot and unfortunately had to abort and stick by the rules. JSD overtaken by Daniel Gottschalk there, and Jay Kennedy trying to go up the inside as well. Can he pull this one off? This will be a brilliant late lunge from Kennedy. DRS will be open for the pair of them as they head down the back straight into turn 4. Who's going to come out on top here? Of course, Kennedy on the inside, SD on the outside will carry more momentum, and there we go. There goes Jay Kennedy passing JSD. The battle of the Jays, and Kennedy comes out on top there, and he's behind Gottschalk, but we'll see where Liam Bowman comes out to the rest of the field when they elect to come into the pit lane and get off those medium compounder tyres.
Yeah, but what I find interesting so far is the drivers come in quite early. They came in at the end of lap 14. More drivers are now going to come in at the end of lap 15, as Jay Kennedy and JSD are going to stay out. with Jay Kennedy having a huge moment there in turn 10, now immediately under pressure by his fellow Jay. I think he'll be looking to go for the overtake into turn 3, but some early pit stops coming out here tonight is definitely going to make it hard to drive out on the hards later on during the race, and perhaps for Sammy Simeone, if he stays out a little bit longer now, might help him towards the end of the race, as we see Sammy go for a very late lunge on to Jay Kennedy, and he's actually gone past Sammy Simeone now in P2, as he's looking to take over the race lead for a time being, but down the inside, late braking comes Jay Kennedy, around the outside he tries to stay, and Sammy Simeone still in front and will stay in front of Jay Kennedy. A great move all the way around. Drivers kept it clean. It was close, but Sammy now up in P2 looking to overtake JST, but I think JST might head into the pit lane now. And seeing the alternative line he's taking, he will indeed send it down pit lane. Jay Kennedy likely to follow, and the only driver that will continue for now, Sammy Simeone.
Yeah, very powerful undercut strategy here, though, because Liam Bowman has now just inherited the race net race lead once these two come into the pit lane, and also the same with Sammy Simeone, as Bowman actually picks up 3-second time penalty there. That could be crucial for him, especially with the rate he was dropping off a cliff coming near the end of that last stint. There's Jay Kennedy and JSD coming out the pit lane, but Marcel Pabst actually in the best position of anyone. He's got that 3-second time penalty, but he is your net race leader. He has made that pit stop, so if he can take those hard compound tires to the end, he can maybe make a surprise appearance on the podium. Daniel Gottschalk able to get past Liam Bowman as SD versus Justin Ayers. It's going to be a battle on the power out of turn 3. Surely Justin's going to get this one. Yes, he does. Nicely done there from him. And here comes Exafox, or maybe the pair of them. We could see 3 wide into turn 4. No, we are not. But Exafox round the outside gets blocked off by Justin Ayers, and Jay Kennedy with the ultimate run out of turn 4 to the outside for turn 6. Can he pull this one off on cold tyres? Yes, he can, as Justin Ayers has to slot in behind him as Carlos Torres picks up 3-second time penalty. But Sammy Simeone extending his stint by an extra lap over the other medium runners, and he's coming to the pit lane, putting on a fresh set of boots. Let's see where he comes out compared to the rest of the field, as Jay Kennedy picks up a 3-second time penalty, and he's dropped all the way back behind Ivan Santamaria.
Yeah, so that is not looking good for Jay Kennedy, who was fighting for a raceman. But the driver that I do want to watch out for at the time being is Daniel Gottschalk, currently 1.7 seconds behind Marcel Pabst. But if he manages to overtake the driver up ahead fast enough, he might be in a very clean zone, because behind him, 2 drivers that are in his DRS range, they have a 3-second time penalty to his name. So if he can dispatch Marcel quick enough, then gain about a second, he is in free air and has the move on to win the race here tonight. But he has just been re-overtaken by Liam Bowman, so it's not looking as easy as it could have been for Daniel Gottschalk, and they don't seem to be gaining on Marcel Pabst either. Of course, his tires are quite a few laps older, but if these drivers stay outside of the DRS window, then Marcel does not have too much to worry about aside from the penalty that he has to his name. Let's quickly look at the penalties we have so far. For Carlos Torres, it's a whopping 12 seconds that he has to his name, so he likely won't be scoring any points tonight. For the other 3 drivers with penalty surnames, just 3 seconds. Marcel Pabst, Liam Bowman, and Jay Kennedy that have these 3 seconds added at the end of the race. But now, down the outside, Daniel Gottschalk goes once more, but he will need to try and dispatch Marcel Pabst as quickly as possible, as aforementioned. Let's see if he can do so. But behind him, the drivers are starting to slot in closely. And for one that we need to watch out for the most, JST, currently 1.5 seconds away from Carlos Torres.
Yeah, he certainly is the driver to look out for, is JSD. And also Daniel Gottschalk trying to go around the outside of Liam Bowman into turn 6. Not able to do anything, though. Liam Bowman just able to stay ahead. But these two squabbling like they are, is just allowing Marcel Pabst to keep that gap around about 1.8 seconds. Ivan Santamaria gets demoted to 9th place after Jay Kennedy able to get the overtake done on him. And JSD, with all that battling, has now caught up. Oh, he's gone wide at turn 9, though, on corner exit. He still is within DRS range, though, of Carlos Torres. So that train of cars behind him will now queue up behind Liam Bowman now, and we could maybe even see Carlos Torres make a move, not only on Gottschalk, but also on Bowman. Here we are then, Torres, can he look for a move of the pair of them? Gonna look to the outside, but no, gets boxed in. Daniel Gottschalk going for the move, he's very late on the brakes, forces Bowman wide. Torres to the inside of the pair of them. Can he pull this one off? What a move this will be for Carlos Torres, keeping out of trouble, got boxed in, worked out for the better though as he moves to the inside for turn 4, and he gets the move done with a really nice switchback, and he moves up into second place. JSD able to get past Liam Bowman as well on the exit of turn 4, but for Carlos Torres, getting boxed in worked out in his favour, and he's able to move up into second. Oh, and Liam Bowman's left the session, an unfortunate disconnect there for Liam. I don't know if he'll be able to get back into the session yet or not, as Exafox now goes past the disconnected and unfortunately AI driver.
Ooh, we see Jesse go a little bit wide there. That's a time penalty for him as well now. So both of the Jays on 3 seconds for stepping out too much. And Liam Bowman is going to lose quite a lot of time now with the AI that has taken over, and that might drop him down the field a little bit more. But for who all this fighting is good for is Marcel Paps. The gap was 1.7 before. The gap's now up to 2 seconds. So he's starting to keep his gap and trying to actually extend it slightly over the drivers behind him. And because the drivers behind him are not within the DRS range, he can manage that gap also later on during the race. And all of a sudden, he is a driver to look out for because he has the net race lead. He doesn't have to make a stop anymore. And he's suddenly ahead by 2 seconds over Daniel Gottschalk. So definitely someone to watch out for. But because of the 3 seconds, of course, he will be dropping down the order later on unless he can get a penalty removed, as we saw last race for JSD, which promoted him back up to P2. But so far, strategy-wise, Marcel Pabst has done a great one.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's really worked this strategy well, and all it takes is for Daniel to go wide one more time, and he's now picked up a 3-second time penalty. Just check the race director. He has got 2 warnings to his name, but he's really closing that gap over the past lap or so over Marcel Pabst. So as his tyres hit the cliff up at the top of the field, DRS open for Carlos Torres behind him. Won't be able to get a move done at the moment. But Daniel, when he's overtaking up into turn 3 there, he's really aggressive on the brakes, really slides the car out, and it does actually hinder his exit very, very much, very aggressively on the exit of turn 3. So here comes Carlos Torres. Is he going to go for a move? No, just too far back to send a lunge to the inside at turn 4 there. But for Daniel, if he picks up a 3-second time penalty here, this does bring Carlos Torres and Marcel Pabst back into contention for this race win. Same with JSD as well. It's only Justin Ayertz and Exafox really within that window at the moment of winning this Grand Prix if Daniel does pick up that 3-second time penalty. 1.7 is the gap now between Marcel Pabst and Daniel Gottschalk. But we'll have to wait and see how much he can gain over the next lap or so. 1.7 now. So Marcel Pabst maybe just made a mistake on that last lap. He's starting to pull that gap out once again in a world of his own at the moment. But Daniel has to look out for Carlos Torres behind. So here we go then, up into turn 3 for the 23rd time this evening. To the inside does he go? No, he just elects to abort once again. And for Carlos Torres, I think he was just setting this one up for turn 4.
Well, I'm very curious to see if he's actually going to go for the move. It looks like he is trying to go for it now. But the drivers, I think they've started to realize the threat that is Marcel Pabst, and they are not fighting each other as heavily as they were before. They're just letting each other go a little bit, not defending too much, not overcooking the tires too much either, so that they can catch up. But the gap's still 1.6 seconds, 13 laps still to go, so we still have quite a long way to go. And yeah, Liam Bowman now mentioning that he has been able to rejoin, I believe, although he does find himself in P13, and with that time penalty as well, it's very unlikely for him to score any points out here tonight. Sammy Simeone actually doing quite well as well. He's currently in P8. But yeah, those mediums are going to be shot towards the end of the race, but had to come in sooner so he wouldn't lose too much a gap of the other drivers up ahead, as Daniel Gottschalk and JSD have gone past Carlos Torres now. The gap is starting to decrease onto Marcel Pabst up ahead. It's about 1 to 2 tenths every lap now. So very soon, they'll be within DRS range. And once that happens, all the advantage that Marcel Pabst had so far will be eliminated.
Yeah, it certainly will. And there's Exafox trying to go around the outside of Justin here. It's going to allow Jay Kennedy to look to the inside of Exafox too. Not able to get the move done though. Is Jay or Exafox? It's really starting to bottleneck up now behind Daniel Gottschalk. But of course, with that DRS down that second DRS zone up into turn 3, he gained there on Mark. Was able to get past Carlos Torres. Don't know what happened to Carlos there on the exit of turn 8. Exafox all over the road as well through turn 9. Turn 9 seeming to be a very tricky spot for some of these drivers. Here comes Exafox to the inside of Carlos Torres. Able to get the move done very, very nicely. And Carlos just falling backwards here. Not got any wing damage that I can see. And there goes Jay Kennedy and now Sammy Simeone. So something desperately wrong here for Carlos Torres, as there's Sammy Simeone to the inside of Jay Kennedy. Those medium tyres working key for him to get that move done with the DRS now on the exit of turn 3. And there we go, he moves up into 6th place, but Jay Kennedy could look for a move back to the inside, but no. JST able to get past Daniel Gottschalk, and that gap to Marcel Paps now under a second. 6 tenths is the gap, so we now have a fight for P1 on our hands.
Yeah, and this is terrible news for Marcel Paps, because with his tires being about 5 to 4 laps older than all of his nearest competitors means that he really won't have any tire life in him towards the end of the race to try and hold on to that race win. So it's starting to look good for the drivers without the penalties just below him. So Daniel Gottschalk, Justin Arts, Exafox, and Sammy Simeone. And perhaps also Isaac Lee, even Santa Maria and DV19, although DV19 is down by 5.5 seconds, so I think he won't be up in contention. But essentially 6 drivers that have no penalties that could go for the race win here tonight, although I think it'll be most likely that we'll see the fight go between Daniel, Justin, and Exafox, as Jay Kennedy has re-overtaken Sammy Simeone. They are on track, and look here, down the inside comes Isaac Lee, the driver that we mentioned just a moment ago, but he will need to try and go for the pair of them. He does not decide to go for it into turn 4, and with Jay Kennedy, Sammy Simeone still fighting. Down the inside he goes, and he actually gets past Sammy Simeone, went way too wide on the exit of turn 4, and Isaac Lee now up into P7. So if he can keep hanging on to this, he might be able to get further up that in the grid, and still, oh, there's the time penalty, and that is, well, everything that I just said down the drain.
Yeah, the commentator's curse strikes again here, Myth, and yeah, unfortunately, this time it's for Isaac Lee picking up that 3-second time penalty that he did not need at all, because he certainly could have been in contention for a top 5 finish. But look at this up the front. Marcel Paps really starting to hold up not only JSD, but also Daniel Gottschalk. Here we go then. Here comes Daniel to the inside. Can he get past the pair of them? 3 wide maybe into turn number 3. No, not 3 wide, but Daniel to the inside of Jay. Still can't get the move done. And look at Justin. What a drive out to turn 3. If he can pull this one off, it'll be a brilliant move. Saw Daniel pinched on the inside, went to the outside line, and was able to get the drive. Now going to try and go for the switchback. Not able to get it done though. Daniel very, very late on the break, and Gottschalk stays ahead of Aerts, heading through turn 6. Lap 27 of 36, 10 laps to go here in Spielberg, and it's all starting to kick off. It'll be Daniel versus Justin versus Exafox for the race win at the moment, because of course JST and Marcel Paps have that 3-second time penalties to hand. So the top 3 not on the road, but on time penalties is Daniel Gottschalk, Justin Aerts, and Exafox.
Yeah, we just saw Daniel Gottschalk be a bit conservative breaking into turn 3. That not only made sure that he couldn't go for the double overtake that he was aiming for, but stayed behind and then opened up the door for Justin Aerts. And with the late breaking into turn 4, he managed to avoid an overtake from Justin, so that was good news for him. And now Marcel Paps has finally been overtaken. JSC in the lead, but we have a yellow in this sector, and that is for Carlos Torres and Isaac Lee. They've dropped down the order a little bit. Even Santa Maria seemingly involved as well, as now DV19 is starting to overtake also Ivan Santa Maria. So good news for DV19, still looking to pick up some extra points here tonight after what so far hasn't been the greatest race for his season. But JST is starting to pull away a little bit. He has now gotten 6 tenths over Marcel Paps. He's looking to try and pull away. He's using a little bit of that ERS. I think he needs to. If he wants to pull away, he needs to do so now. He's going very aggressively at it, and if he can pull away enough, he might be able to punch a gap into the air that allows him to go and build a gap further. And yeah, hopefully enough for within 3 seconds. But with the gap now 5.5 seconds, DRS for the drivers behind him. I don't think he's going to be able to pull away at all. So whatever I just said is not going to work out for him. As Marcel Paps slips out there in turn 3. A little bit of contact with Daniel Gottschalk. I'm not sure if there's damage to the car. It doesn't seem to be like it. But this once again is a window of opportunity for JSD to try and pull away. But quite a few drivers dropping down the Raven. Sanderbury again past DD19 again. But Marcel Paps now down in P4, looking to be out of contention for the time being. Daniel Gottschalk starting to look good there, just behind JSD.
Yeah, disaster there for Marcel Paps, sliding wide at turn 3. And that puts him under pressure from Exafox. But Daniel Gottschalk will be looking at that with a smile on his face. Same with Justin Ayerts as well, because that made sure that JSD was not able to run away with things. And that's Marcel Paps in the background having a spin on the exit at turn 10. I think those tyres have well and truly gone and hit the cliff. They'll be feeling like a 50 pence piece now, heading up into turn 1. He'll come into the pit surely for some front wing repairs, but further up, Gottschalk still all over the back of SD. He can't be held up too much here by SD because of course he's got Ayerts behind him. So Gottschalk, Ayerts, SD and Exafox all still in the running for this one. Can't forget about Jay Kennedy and Sammy Simeone behind Exafox too. They're still with this train. So 6 cars on the road battling for that race win, but only 4 of them have no penalties. So SD and Kennedy, the 2 J's, are somewhat out of contention for now. But for Gottschalk, he can't lose too much time to Ayerts behind. He needs to get this move done, I think, on SD, at least for the next lap, to make sure he's not under too much pressure from Justin Ayerts behind. As we exit turn number 9 into turn 10 this time around. So it'll be DRS open for Gottschalk, Ayerts, Exafox, Kennedy and Simeone heading down that main straight. Marcel Paps, I think, does come into the pit lane. Yes, he does. I was right about him coming in to the pits for some damage. But here we go then. Gottschalk, is he going to go for the move? He's not using any battery. He's going to just sit behind JSD. But will Ayerts go for a move? No, he's not close enough to do so. And still, we stay as we were, with SD still leading the way. Lap 31 of 36. 5 laps to go. And it's still anyone's game at the top on who will win this as Ayerts look for a move. Not able to get it done.
Yeah, not able to get it done so far, as Jay Kennedy has gone past Exafox one more time, so he finds himself in P4. Let's keep the view on him for a moment. He's got a beautiful white car, blue car with a little bit of white, greyish stripes to the top there, and of course a little bit of black running down the spine. Beautiful looking car that Jay is driving here tonight. But yeah, up ahead, the gaps, at least between the top 6, they're still within DRS range of one another. The gap to Carlos Torres has now increased to 3 seconds as he's picked up yet another time penalty, but I believe he's already got like 15 seconds to his name. 18 seconds even, far worse than what we thought. And 5 other drivers with 3 seconds. Those are Liam Bowman, Lucas Beisner, Isaac Leeds, Jake Kennedy, and Jay Esty, who has just been demoted to P2 as Daniel Gottschalk has gone the overtake. Dump has gone a little bit wide, and that has allowed not only JSD, but also Justin Arts to get through. But there's a lot of bumping now going down to the back straight, breaking into turn 3, down the inside. Justin Arts stays. Daniel Gottschalk will want to stay in contact with Jay Kennedy, and he spins out. That are the end of his hopes for a good race result. And that means that we're down to 5 that are going for it here, and a severe collision, a penalty for Carlos Torres. He's now been sent down. I think he collected the spun Jay Kennedy there. And I think he has. Is he struck further down even?
Let's just say, out of pure rage, Jay Kennedy with Carlos Torres heading round turn 4, reverse back on the racing line, and Carlos Torres had nowhere to go. That 10-second time penalty should have been more to Jay Kennedy than it was for Carlos Torres. He tried avoiding going on the gravel, but unfortunately spinning out. But here comes Gottschalk on Ayerts. These two battling for the race win at the moment. So here we are then, Ayerts catching up to SD with that overspeed. To the inside he goes. Torres retires on the road, in the pit lane, sorry, as Ayert's got this one done. He's still battling with SD as we now head down into turn 4 for the 33rd time with 4 laps to go. To the inside, you see Ayert's Exafox to the outside of Gottschalk as well. There's contact made between the pair, and once again Gottschalk involved in some contact on the exit of turn 4. He keeps the position though, but Ayert's takes the race lead from JSD, but Gottschalk needs to get this move done now. He needs to go for this double move, or he could see Ayert's running off into the distance and winning this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and there's still a dark horse amongst this fight, and that is Sammy Simeone. He's been sneaky all the way through, starting to pick up the pace, starting to eat away an advantage of the drivers up ahead. He is on 16-lap-old medium, so tire life definitely not in his advantage. But he's seemingly catching up with the drivers up ahead as we have a yellow in Sector 3. That's retirement for Jay Kennedy, who's also decided to call it quits, of course, after the damage that he has gotten from that spin out. Carlos Torres also DNFing as a result of that, so we might see a stewards inquiry about that. But for now, Justin Arts, who is overtaken by JST, is trying to go around the outside. Down the inside though, Daniel Gottschalk 3-man wide as they go. But it will be JSD for a time being to stay ahead, and Justin Arts now around the outside into the inside. Almost 3-man wide here again, as they're really starting to amp up the pace. They want to be in second, and Daniel Gottschalk picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits, and that is going to seriously hurt his options to try and go for a race win. And this means that Sammy Simeone is in a virtual podium.
Wow, this is all starting to kick off here, and Gottschalk going a little bit wide, battling with Justin Ayert's, has picked up that 3-second time penalty. And now Sammy Simeone will just be loving this, having that podium on penalties at the moment. That's all he's probably wanting from this alternate strategy. Here comes Exafox though on Gottschalk. Is he going to get this one done on the outside? Going to get boxed in by Ayert's. And Gottschalk does make contact with Ayert's. So now on the exit of the corner, who's going to come out on top in this one? Exafox round the outside. This time around, he's got the move done. Sammy Simeone, I think he's just going to sit behind here. He don't want to risk losing this podium at the moment. Yes, he would love to go for the win, but I just don't think it's doable for him. But Esti leads on the road. Lap 35 of 36. Who is going to win this one? Will it be Ayert's? Will it be Exafox? Or will it be Simeone? So now as we're about to enter turn 9 for the penultimate time here this evening. So JSD heading through turn number 9, now into 10, will lead us on to this final lap of proceedings. Gottschalk all over the back of Exafox. DRS open down that main straight for the penultimate time as we now enter that final lap of proceedings. Santa Maria picks up a 3-second time penalty. We'll drop him behind DV19 at the very least. But here we are then, DRS open for all these drivers. That top 5 down this straight up into turn 3. Here we are then, Ayert's to the outside of Kennedy, to Esti, sorry. There he goes. It's contact between Exafox and Gottschalk. And there goes Simeone. Can he pull this one off? He's got to have the overspeed on Exafox. Can he make it P2? Ayert's trying to go down the inside of JSD here to try win this one on the road. Exafox goes deep into the corner. Simeone with the switchback. This is over second place in this Grand Prix. Ayert's round the outside. Simeone round the outside as well. Still contact being made between Exafox and Simeone. Can he pull this one off for Sammy Simeone? No, Exafox just coming out on top in that one for now, but they're using all their battery. To the outside comes Sammy once more into turn number 9, but no, can't get it done. But after heartbreak, after stewards' inquiries, losing that podium in Miami, it's Ayert's to win in Spielberg. Justin Ayert's takes the race victory here in Austria after utter heartbreak last time out, losing the podium. He brings it back with a race victory here in Miami, and with that, takes the championship lead, I want to say.
I think that is very likely, but so much almost chaos ensuing at the final lap. And we saw in turn 3 Daniel Gottschalk going very deep, and that opened up the door for Sammy Simeone, who has, after penalties, managed to put that car on the podium. Fastest lap going for JSD, so that will grant him 1 extra point. But the race win here going tonight to Justin Arts, starting from P11 on the grid. So a master drive from the man here as he wins here around Spielberg. Second place goes to Exafox, and it's Sammy Simeone, JSC, Daniel Gottschalk in P5, followed by DV19, picks up quite a few paces after a lot of penalties were applied later on. Then it's Ivan Santamaria in 7th, 8 goals to Isaac Lead, Lucas Beisner is in 9th, and Liam Bowman, despite everything, still picking up a final point. Then the other drivers all out of contention, they retired, and those are Jay Kennedy, Carlos Torres, Marcel Paps, Jeremy Gallané, our previous championship leader, and Florian van Zelter. So no points for them. It's a race win tonight here for Justin Aerts, as he's shown quite an impressive.
Yeah, really, really well done from Justin Aerts there. He really, after that qualifying, he might have seemed all doom and gloom. Maybe a win was out the window in his mind, but he pushed his way through the order, and yeah, very, very nice from Justin Aerts there to pick up his first race victory of the season, as I say, after losing the podium last time out. But I don't know if we're going to get any interviews this evening from any of the drivers, but overall, that was a fantastic race. Oh, and I've just got word from someone from MVR, is that Bowman is also struggling, probably with tyre wear and everything in this race, because for this game, he has switched from controller to steering wheel. So that's why he's maybe not at his best form just yet.
Alright, that does explain. But at least good news for him is that after a 16th place and last time around not participating in Miami, he's picked up his first point this season, so he'll see 1 point added to his name. Justin Aerts until now was at 8 points, but if the race win tonight stays, he'll be on 24, at least looking to get past Jeremy Gallané. Lewis Walker wasn't there, Alexander Dimas wasn't there, Jeremy Gallané no points. Exafox though, he picks up a P2, and with 12 points, he will be your new championship leader. So he'll be on 26. JSD, who still finished in P4, but had fastest lap, so he'll be on 21 points, also overtaking Jeremy Gallané. But that means that we will have the top 5 or so within 7 points of one another. So that is very good to see. And also Jay Kennedy picking up some healthy points. So he'll be around about that 16, 17, 18 points as well. So very well done for the people there, and showing that this is going to be a fight for the driver standings by let's say a good 5, maybe even 6 drivers, and that is definitely what tonight has shown. But it looks like we have our race winner in the waiting room, so we're quickly going to move over to our driver interviews, and we're going to have a chat with our race winner, and that's Justin Aerts. And here we have him, our race winner for tonight. We had him in the commentary box last week around in Miami after penalties that were removed. He was unfortunately moved out of the points there, well, at least out of the podium into P4, but picking up the race win tonight. His first win of the season, it's Justin Aerts. Well, let's first go to qualifying, because you ended up in P11, and I can't imagine that is what you were looking for, Justin.
No. It seems to be a reoccurring trend that I bottle quali, and then in the race I'm just come out of nowhere. But no, I was 4/10 off my PB in quali, so not ideal. Would have put me up there. But it makes the race more interesting. Who wants to go from P2 to P1 when you can go from P11 to P1? Am I right?
That is definitely true, but we saw that with a lot of penalties, a lot of tussling at the end. You seem to make your pit stop at quite a good moment as well, not losing too many positions. And then with all the penalties applied, suddenly you were starting to meddle in with the top 3, top 4, and then pretty much out of nowhere, you managed to get past them. How did that go in the last couple of laps?
It was probably the most stressful last 16 laps ever, because there was so many moments where I tried doing mental math in my head and try and think, all right, if I get in front of Daniel on this lap and then Exofox follows me, then maybe we could fight. And then there were so many different scenarios going through my head. And then ultimately I managed to get in front of Daniel because he made a mistake into turn 3. Then he got a penalty trying to go around my outside. And then after that, it was just about keeping it on track with 2-3 laps to go and avoid Exofox trying to attack me. And then so many other characteristics. I mean, I even made it difficult for myself, getting 2 warnings by the end of lap 6. So I was going 31 laps, nursing the final two corners. Essentially, I couldn't push as much. So it was a very stressful race with the penalties, like you said.
Well, regardless of, you only picked up 2 warnings, meaning you didn't have any penalties to your name, which meant that you not only come across the line first, but are also going to keep that race win, as it looks like. And yeah, you mentioned Exafox, rightly so. He came across the line now in P2, and if there's no much more meddling with the penalty points, that means you're now going to be moving up into second in the driver's standings. You were in P8. With 16 points, you'll go up to 24, but you'll be 2 points behind Exafox, as he'll be moving up to 26. Was that something you were, well, I guess hoping, but is it something you were expecting at the start of the season that you'll be well within the championship fight?
I mean, being F4, I think I matched my highest placement ever. So I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind, oh, if I get like a top 10 or a top 5, that'd be great. Considering I even missed round 1, I'm likely going to miss probably 1 or 2 races at the end of the season. Was kind of hoping that too, but, I guess if I can just, when I do race, put in good results, then maybe that can impact me placement-wise next season, because it's not always about where you finish at the end of the season, but how consistent you are through the season.
Definitely consistency is key, and for now, consistency definitely seems to be working out, because the 2 races you did participate in, a P4 and now a P1, is quite the consistency that you need. Now, of course, next week we'll have a little bit of a break, so we'll have a little bit of a breather before in 2 weeks we're going to resume in Spain. What are your thoughts on the Circuit of Catalunya?
Where is it, Spain?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't done it yet, and you mentioned the break week as well. I'm going to use that break week to transition from the good old G29 to finally the Fanatec. So that's going to be, you might never see this version of me anymore. So maybe the Fanatec might slow me down. Who knows? But yeah, I haven't done Spain this race or this game, to be honest. So I don't know. But usually it's pretty good. So.
That sounds great. Well, moving it over to Max. Anything else you want to ask our race winner?
Yeah, I mean, what was it like in that DRS train, especially when Daniel really started to get racy into turn 3? Were you just like, all right, I'll let him do his own thing and know he overshoots the corner, or were you really desperate to try and get that move done?
I mean, the entire time I was hoping be second to JSD and be in front of Exofox, and then hopefully get Daniel on the final lap. But with all the chaos that was happening, sometimes 3 wide into turn 4, him going deep into turn 3, and then him getting the penalty, it was just a lot of scenarios going through my head, trying to figure out what was the best course of action to do, and in the end, it all kind of just puzzled itself together in front of me that I just had to do my own race and finish the race on track P1.
Yeah, of course. Congratulations on your race victory as well. How does it feel after being after that third place being taken away from you last time out?
Great, definitely great. I mean, last time I was in F4, I had 1 victory and no podium, so I'm already matched that. So hopefully this is the beginning of things to come.
Yeah, hopefully it is for you, Justin. And hopefully you'll be back here in Spain, and you never know, this Fanatec could unlock you another, 5-6 seconds of pace?
hopefully.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Justin. And as it looks like those were the interviews for tonight, so we're quickly going to because we'll be rounding off the race and the broadcast here for tonight. So we've just seen quite the race with a lot of overtaking moves all the way throughout the track here in Spielberg. And indeed, as you mentioned, Max, a dry race, I think, here was better than a wet race because we saw a lot more action than you normally see.
Yeah, 100%. I feel that's going to be quite the theme throughout most of these circuits on this game, with the way the cars are at the moment, with the slipstream and everything. I just feel like the dry race is going to be 10 times better than the wet ones. Maybe the mixed conditions ones are going to be just as exciting, if not more. But a full dry race over a full wet race, I feel like is what we will most likely prefer for action-wise on this game.
I think so as well. But for now, that was it for here tonight around the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria. This was round 3 of your PSGL PCF4, as we're now, as we mentioned before, going to move into that break week. We'll be back in 2 weeks when we're going to be driving at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, Spain. But before we move out, any closing words from you, Max?
Yeah, just thank you guys once again for watching and all the support. It really helps us out a lot. And yeah, make sure to tune in, not next week, the week after, for Barcelona, because this championship fight, it certainly is going to be a good one. And hopefully you'll see Justin appear in the interview box again.
We might indeed see him again, indeed. And with more drivers returning from their holidays, we will see in 2 weeks another stacked grid and perhaps some more changes towards the championship lead that, for now, provisionally looks to be Exafox with 26 points, closely followed by Justin Arts on 24 points after 3 races here in PSGL PCF4. That was it for tonight. I was your host, Mid-Sky. Joining me was Max Ring. I'll be back in 2 weeks for round 4 of the season. See you then.